evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 715th edition of the Feuerstein's Fire American Soccer Show. I'm your host, Daniel Feuerstein. I'll give you American perspective of our clubs, leagues, players, national team, and other fabulous moments. Get your daily reading from me and other writers over at Beyond the 90, Substack.com, and of course, locally on New York Soccer over at BadDogSports.com. Come on in, discuss amongst yourselves if you like. The chat room is open over here on YouTube. And if you have a question for me, I'll try to answer it to the best of my abilities. And please don't forget to subscribe here on YouTube for your daily American soccer content. Well, ladies and gentlemen, in about a week, not even a week, 5-6 days away, the start of a brand new Major League Soccer season will get underway very shortly as our clubs are back in our stadiums across the league. Majority of our clubs are in stadiums. Of course, we all know New England, Seattle, Atlanta, and of course in San Diego are playing in their either NFL or college football stadiums. New York City FC will still be hanging around the Yankee Stadium and Citi Field and the baseball stadiums. But of course, we already know their stadium is still in the middle of construction. So that's a great thing to see. And let's also not forget Chicago back at Soldier Field until ground starts to get broken for their brand new stadium in downtown Chicago. But there's something we need to talk about, and that is this will be the last time, this season will be the last time they will have playing a regular season match, an entire regular season and playoffs from end of February until middle of October, and then the playoffs in November and the final in December. This is the last time that Major League Soccer will have a fall to winter calendar, or a winter to fall calendar, I should say. You know, I really don't know how to think about that and how to feel. I mean, it's quite amazing how the majority of you screaming, yelling, wanting to have this change in the competition calendar, and the majority of the owners listened. Now, I understand our Canadian friends in Toronto, Montreal, and Vancouver are probably the ones maybe screaming the loudest for no. But, you know, I still feel there's ways to get around it. And to have that opportunity in front of us now, it's going to be amazing. Now, once again, when 2026 ends, 2027 comes into play, that will be a shortened season from February through, I believe, through May. Short season with playoffs. And then they'll take off for the summer. And then when we get to, I believe, either end of July or beginning of August, we start playing a fresh, brand new season that will now start from the summer of 2027 until the spring of 2028. And this also means for all of us who support Major League Soccer in the United States and Canada, the summer will be left for those tournaments like the CONCACAF Gold Cup and the next 4 years when we get to the 2030 World Cup itself. This also means we won't have to worry about interference watching the Euros from UEFA, the Copa America and CONMEBOL. we get to watch these summer tournaments, national team tournaments, and at the same time, our national team windows will not be interfered with. That, my friends, is unbelievable. And as much as I have given shtick to those at MLS, one thing is for certain. One thing is for certain. It is about time this happened. And it's a great time that it's happened. And it's just a situation where it's about time. But, I have also said many, many times that if we're going to have these different mechanisms, or the mechanisms of how a soccer league is properly done in this country, what they do in Europe or what they do in South America, around the world, we need to have the patience to finally implement that type of calendar change. And when the owners finally are listening to the fans, and they're also listening to the other owners other American owners who do own clubs in Europe. They got to get the feedback to hear what's going on. Once again, we can't worry about what Major League Baseball will do. We can't worry about what the NFL will do. We can't worry about what the NBA does or the NHL does. Even collegiate sports, can't worry about that. MLS has to worry about MLS. And when you worry about your own league and your own calendar, everything else doesn't mean anything at all. Nothing. It is a great time as an American soccer fan, including an MLS fan, that we are going to make this change and do it the right way. And yes, there will be a winter break. We are savvy enough to have a winter break. And trust me, this is going to be something special. Now, I have a bit of something that's come up to my attention real quick. I will be right back, and then we'll continue on with the show. Just give me one moment. And crisis averted. Thank you very much for being patient with me, folks. Sorry about that. But I just want to say, I'm just pleased. I'm pleased, very, very pleased that the owners in MLS have listened. They've listened to the fans, they've listened to their fellow owners who own clubs in Europe. And now we are going to have a soccer season that was meant to be the way it was supposed to be. So, look, I'm happy, I'm thrilled. And once again, no more interference with Gold Cups, no more interference with stopping the season for the World Cup or playing a season through the World Cup. It's just a great thing to see, and I'm very happy about that. And it's just wonderful for all of us to move forward and to finally get to where we're supposed to be. Now, it's going to be a while, but, we are definitely going to have something wonderful to come toward us. And like I said, it's about time. Now, there still needs more patience with the other mechanisms that will, connect the pyramid, I should say, for American soccer. But until then, we just have to stay strong, support our clubs, support our leagues, and hopefully everyone will come together and we will finally show the rest of the world that we are a part of the football community, of the soccer nation that we are. More needs to be done, but until then, this is a win. This is the first step to a win for the game in this country, without a doubt. I feel great about it. I know you feel great about it. And this will be it. This will be the last time that we will have a full season that starts at the end of February until the middle of October, and then the playoffs into the MLS Cup final at the beginning of December. I know it's exciting. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I cannot wait to see what's going to happen. And I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to have to change up the show a little bit, probably. It's going to be really, really strange. But one thing is for sure. Once we have all of our leagues being played during the international calendar, all the other components will fit in nicely. And then we don't have to worry about any form of other, interference or anything like that, or any other shenanigans. So get ready. It's going to be a lot of fun. I cannot wait. And, say goodbye to the old ways this season, after the end of this season, and then say hello to the new ways when the calendar shifts to 2027. Well, let me tell you about this segment's sponsor. It is DuNord Energy Drink. When I need that extra kick to power through match analysis and late night transfer rumors, there's only one drink that delivers authentic Italian energy, and that's DuNord, crafted in Italy with the same passion I bring to this show, because real energy comes from real ingredients, just like real soccer talk comes from real insiders. Ladies and gentlemen, my first guest tonight, actually my only guest tonight, we're going to head on over to the big Great Lakes state. And of course, that is the one and only state of Minnesota, the big state of Minnesota that loves soccer. And joining me once again to talk about everything and anything Minnesota United FC from DuNord, Bruce McGuire joining me tonight. Bruce, welcome back. How are you, my friend?
Hi there, Daniel.
Yep, big news in Minnesota. One good, one not so good, but we'll get your opinions about it. But first things first, how have you been? How's the winter been up there? And are you ready to start this brand new year of Minnesota United soccer?
Yeah, I'm always ready for a brand new season, so that I'm looking forward to. The rest of it, I don't want to spend a lot of time on, but it's been absolutely atrocious here for the last 3 months in Minnesota. Our city has been invaded by some kind of strange federal military that is kidnapping thousands of people. Um, I believe the report came out today that there was 30 criminals have been apprehended out of about 4,000 arrests.
Mm-hmm.
So the governor, the mayor, have done nothing to help the people except say some useless words. And everything that's gone great is because of the amazing people who live here and how they have stood up and refused to back down. And some of those people are my fellow soccer fans, which is pretty incredible. And they've never backed down to anybody. And I don't expect them to do that in the future either.
Well, obviously, a lot of tumultuous times over in Minnesota, and hopefully everything will be righted and we can get back to getting back to normal. Basically, that's my hope there as well.
That's what we
Um,
all dream of.
yep, it's all we can dream of. That's all we can hope and do. So we'll see what happens down the road. But anyway,
Yes.
when the news came, James Rodriguez, Colombian international superstar, comes to your club. What the hell happened? And were you throwing a party all of a sudden?
It's a strange one, isn't it? I I can't I honestly don't know how I feel. I will say this, I did not party because the deal is too odd to create the kind of energy that you would think that a name like that would create. Um, we know how these things take with people getting work permits and visas and all those things. So, you know, they can take 4 to 6 weeks for anything to happen. And the deal was done in late January, and so I don't expect him here till closer to March 1st. And
Yeah,
then, they play the season until about the 20th of May, and then everything goes on a break for the World Cup. So that's going to be March, April, and part of May. And his contract runs out on July 31st,
hmm,
right after the World Cup. So it's a really, really, really weird deal.
isn't
Um,
it?
the team does have an option to retain him for the rest of the season in MLS. So it would be, through October. Well, I mean, technically to the end of December. Um, and so now we all just have to kind of wait and see what any of this means. Who's the guy that's going to show up? What kind of shape's he going to be in? How motivated is he going to be? We know he loves playing for Colombia. There's no doubt about that. So he's going to want to be killing it at the time of the World Cup, and you hope that means that he's going to come here and kill it. But
Hmm.
I don't know if anybody really knows what's going to happen.
Yeah,
It's certainly
no,
got them a lot of news.
yeah, it really did, and it was just amazing. I couldn't believe such a great get. I'm going to ask you this question, and then apparently something's popping up around my corner, but I want you to answer it while I take care of it real quick. It shouldn't be too long,
Yeah, yeah.
but you know, um, what feeling do you have that he'll fit in, and do you feel the system that Minnesota is going to be playing? Just for that, and just a big name like that's going to grace the pitch at Allianz Field. I mean, that is like a dream come true once the World Cup is over.
It's wild. The team has definitely put themselves in a place for this season with the changing of a head coach. They've played all preseason so far. Instead of playing the 5-2-3-1, 5-2-2-1, whatever it's been, the different variations of all those things that they played the last 2 seasons. And so far during all the preseason, they've played in a 4-3-3. And where Rodriguez fits into a 4-3-3 is a really interesting thing. Is he the middle of the middle three, which, tends to be where a number 10 would plug in, and then the two behind him would be more holding and defensive midfielders. And he would join in with the three up top. Or does he fit in to the right or the left side as one of the three up top? And then they get some extra help in the midfield holding behind him, because one of his question marks has always been his defensive ability, or maybe liability. I don't know which word to use, but that's been the big question about him, is how hard is he going to fight for this team on defense? We do know that the last 2 years, the whole identity of the team has been built on putting up the stiffest defense possible. And they've gotten to the league semifinals 2 years in a row with a really, really stiff defense, giving up very few goals, and using the counterattack and the counter press to get them their goals, and not to mention the incredible amount of set piece goals they've had. That could be another place he fits in. He's a great deliverer of the ball. And when you are focused on set pieces, why not have another great set piece taker to try and put that ball in the back of the net as often as you can? I think they had 22 goals last year on set pieces, which is kind of extraordinary. Most ever in MLS, I know that. If that number's not correct, the record is correct, whatever the number is.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? I'm thinking about the partnerships he's going to have on the pitch, especially with Mark Canich. Mark Canich, to me, is one of those, hard-nosed players. He doesn't care where he is on the pitch. He'll be near the net, or if even he's not even near the net, he's away from the net, and he'll still put the ball in the back of it. So, I mean, I'm just looking and waiting for that partnership to happen between James Rodriguez and Mark Canich, and it's just been like, you're dreaming of a scenario of what it will be like when James Rodriguez is on the pitch with his new teammates and they just light it up every home match at Allianz Field.
I mean, that is definitely the. I don't want to make this sound wrong, but that's the dream. And it's crazy that you mention Anthony Markanich, because he's a left fullback, and there he was last year. He had 13 goals in all competitions, and he just seemed to pop up over and over. The first preseason game this year was against Kansas City, and he scored 2 more. And you're like, how are teams not just glued to this guy when he's anywhere near the box? And no one seemed to be able to figure out the riddle last year, and it was kind of great to watch it start all over again this year. The other addition that they will have this year is Thomas Chancalay, who they signed from New England. Now, the big question there is he in condition to play? He had lost quite a bit of time with a bad knee injury. He was a DP in New England, and they let him go to Minnesota for $100,000.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's giving a guy away.
Yeah.
And so what kind of shape is he in? What kind of health is he in? He did play the first preseason game, and he looked really sharp. On the other side, in the attack, you have Joaquin Pereira, who had a very good season last year with 11 assists. And those two combined really nicely in that first game. And, if you can put a guy like Hamas combining with those other two attackers, and then you have a forward up top in Kelvin Yeboah, who has shown he can score, although there's, again, question marks about what's going on with him. But you put 4 guys in the attack, and that's already right there a big step up from the last 2 seasons for Minnesota, when they only played with 3 players in the attack. And you're adding another element. And
Mm-hmm.
if that other element is a guy with a world-class pedigree, then the excitement level starts to become real.
Yeah, I agree. And, the other thing is this, though. is that, with obviously with great additions to the current roster, there are some deletions that I think we really have to talk about. And the first one we got to talk about is Dane St. Clair. I was shocked that he would leave Minnesota United and went to Inter Miami. I understand Inter Miami has their goalkeeper issues as well, aging veterans, of course, from South America. But I mean, look, Messi is Messi. I understand, but I thought Dane St. Clair was going to remain at Minnesota United and be your starting goalkeeper again for the foreseeable future. Right decision to let him go, or wrong decision to let him go?
I mean, they tried for 15 months to sign him to a new contract, and he turned them down every time. And it was, I think a lot of people were thinking, okay, it's going to come down to the last minute and he's going to sign. And I don't want to say that I foresaw anything, but I kept wondering, why hasn't he? And so when the word came that he was going to move on, it wasn't a surprise to me at all, because he had every chance to sign a much bigger contract at Minnesota than he could anywhere else in the league. And so going to Miami was a really fascinating thing. And then after he got there, he gave an interview and they asked him why. Why did you make this move? And he didn't say a lot, but the one thing, when you read between the lines, he really talked about the ambition of the team in Miami compared to the ambition of the team in Minnesota.
Hmm.
And when you think about, he's instantly going to be playing in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. He's going to be highlighted, or with one of the highlighted teams in the Leagues Cup. He's going to be going to the World Cup with Canada, and all across the planet, people watch Inter Miami because of Messi. So he will be in the showcase spotlight regularly with them as well. And if he has ambitions to move to Europe, which he's going to be, I think he's already 28. If he's not, he's going to be. Now is the time for him to do it. And if he has a really solid World Cup, why not do that? I think that's what it's all about.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you there as well. Drake Calendar's been signed. Obviously, he's no slouch. Solid veteran goalkeeper out there. Definitely will fill in the space that was let go by Dane St. Clair. You feel comfortable with Drake Calendar behind in the net to keep that ball out for you?
I mean, he's obviously got experience, which is great. You always want that. But Dane St. Clair, way beyond his goalkeeping skills, was the leader in the back of that team. He was never the captain. He was never one of the elders. But you watch every game, and that guy was clearly the leader of that defense that was so stout. Everything revolved around him. Every player moved on his cue. Every teammate reacted to his enthusiasm and his, uh, demonstrative actions. So that is going to be, to me, as big a missing part as anything. And I don't know Drake Calendar's ability to do that. If he has that, great. It'll take some time to develop and fully take shape, but that to me is the biggest part. Another thing is Drake Calendar's pretty decent with his distribution, both passing out of the back, both long kicking, both throwing, and that's Dane St. Clair's weakness. He is not good at distribution. He didn't get better over the years, and frankly, I think that's what's going to hurt him in trying to go to Europe. But if he doesn't try to go to one of the big leagues as a starting goalkeeper, he'll be okay. But if Drake Calendar can improve the distribution and help this team up the field faster, because look, last year their possession numbers were so low, and part of it is because a lot of times when they'd recover the ball, they couldn't get out of the back. And if you have another guy who can help you move that ball out of the back, being a goalkeeper, that's another plus. So we'll see. We'll see. I mean, again, his big question mark will be his leadership in the defense.
Yep. No, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
No, I mean, look, we'll see what happens. I hope things go well for Minnesota United this upcoming season. Great run in the Open Cup last year.
Yeah.
Solid run into the MLS Cup playoffs. But
Yep.
now Eric Ramsey has left the club and he's over at West Brom back in England. And taking over is Cameron Knowles. I mean, I'm assuming Mr. Knowles was part of the coaching staff last year with the club, and he got a promotion after Eric Ramsey left. What did you think about Ramsey's his job performance with the club before he headed back to England?
I mean, it was good. He had pieces that he thought he put in the place to get the most out of them, which is what you hope any manager does instead of having his devoted system and makes a team fit to it. Although right now that seems to be what he's trying to do at West Brom, and that is going spectacularly bad. 7 games, no wins, and now they are 2 points above relegation. And the fans are screaming. And the guy who hired Eric Ramsey was let go about 10 days ago. Relieved of his duties, as they say. So, there was a lot of people frustrated that the team didn't take more chances last year, wasn't more proactive, didn't play more entertaining soccer. A lot of people said they played some of the worst soccer MLS has ever seen. But yet they made it an awfully long way, a lot further than a lot of teams that supposedly play really beautiful soccer.
Yep.
So, you take it as that. I mean, I'm in the stands for every home game. I'm watching every away game on television. I wasn't entertained very often. I got to say, it was kind of painful. There was times when they did spectacular things, and that was great. I mean, there was nothing quite like Miami coming to town with a full strength squad, and being up 4-0 on them and giving up a goal to Lionel Messi and winning 4-1. You don't do that with a purely defensive team. And so I think we'd all hope to see more. Cam Knowles was the second team coach for a couple of years that's in MLS Next Pro. And he came up to be part of the first team staff when Adrian Heath got fired. So he was there at the end of that season. He was around at the beginning of the next season, and Eric Ramsey could not sign with the team until sometime in February. So when the season started, Cam Knowles was the head coach for the first 3 games. They won 2, they tied 1. People enjoyed the kind of soccer the team played. So I don't know, maybe that's the sign of what we're going to see this year. We'll find out.
Yep.
But when a team doesn't go through a coaching search and they just appoint from within, that tells you, that they had faith in him from the start, and that's the way they wanted to go.
Exactly. I have to ask you this question, and obviously it's about a former head coach in Adrian Heath, and I don't know if you read the article from The Athletic, but that's a scary thing that you get information about taking a job as the next head coach of a club, regardless where it is, regardless if it's in Europe, if it's in Africa, Asia, North America, Mexico, South America, the Middle East. Heck, it could be somewhere in Timbuktu. I don't know. And, you want to get back into the game, and then you find out he's being kidnapped. I mean, that's a scary situation that I ever heard of. I can't believe all of a sudden now they're targeting former football managers and former soccer head coaches to see if they'll take a job, and then they get kidnapped. I mean, did you ever read that article? I mean, it was wild.
Oh yeah. I mean, that was something else. I mean, the first thing is you're just really glad that the guy is okay and nothing horrible happened. I mean, you read the first half of that article and you're like, this isn't going to end well. And in a way it did, even though it was horrible that anyone would have to go through that. He somehow got out of it, which is kind of incredible. And then you read that he's talked to the FBI and there's hints that other people have gone through this recently. And we haven't heard anything about it. And I think he said that the reason he went public is because he doesn't want this happening to other people. That that he was under the impression it had happened to other people before, and so you have to talk up. There's so many questions about all of this,
Yeah.
I think one of the more interesting aspects of the story is the two women in his life, his wife and his daughter-in-law, who's, on TV with MLS every week, Kaylin Kyle. She's pretty great at her job, by the way. And she's the one who said, well, has anyone looked to see where his phone is? Does he have his tracker turned on? And the people who kidnapped him never turned his phone off, so they knew exactly where he was, which is kind of incredible.
Yeah.
And then his wife has the wherewithal to, he calls her and says that they're making a demand for this X amount of money. And she kind of plays I don't want to say the wrong word, but she plays the confused card and says, honey, we have a new bank account and you hadn't put my name on it yet. So I have no ability to get you any money. Which that wasn't true, but that's the line she went with. I mean, that's quite a risk when somebody's been kidnapped.
Yep.
To play that card, and all of it worked. I mean, they were able to kind of lean on the kidnappers and say, we know where you are and there's no money coming, and your best bet would be to let this guy walk away.
Yep.
And they did. That's unbelievable.
Isn't that crazy?
It's just crazy. I mean, wow. I still just think of the whole event and think, I'm just happy that nothing bad happened.
No, me too.
That would have been horrific,
Absolutely.
But the only question I have is, didn't he have an agent or a lawyer in this?
You'd like to think so. I mean, you'd really like to think so, unless he doesn't use an agent. So I really don't think so.
It didn't seem like that in the articles.
Yeah.
In the article, sorry, there's been one.
Yeah, that's okay.
It seemed like he was on his own, which is, I know, I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm not going there on my own.
Oh, no.
And I don't mean
no.
I don't mean I'm not going to Morocco or Saudi Arabia or whatever. I'm not going anywhere on my own without, really checking it out first.
Exactly.
So
that's what I would have done.
That's the question. But on the flip side, you said the guy wants to manage. And he got offered a chance to go meet the owner, or whoever the person who runs one of the squads. They didn't name the squad, which I think is okay. I don't need proof of that kind of stuff,
No.
But he went to Morocco, and there was no 5-star hotel, and there was no, general manager to meet with, and there was just some guys in a beat-up old car that took him to a warehouse district in another city and told give me all your money.
Yep.
It's a hell of a story.
It is.
Yeah.
It really is.
But I'm happy for his wife. I'm happy for his wife and his daughter-in-law that they were really sharp and figured those little subtle things out.
Yep. It really is.
It helped immensely.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, like we said, we're just happy he's okay. And hopefully this will never happen to him again. All I can say is this: if Adrian Heath wants to get another job as a manager in this game, hire an agent. Hire an agent and let him do all the talking and make sure it's a legitimate situation, not what just happened here.
Do you let him go? Do you let him go there first?
Yes, let him go there first.
Sorry, that's a terrible joke.
No, yeah, I love it. After all, you send the was it the royal the royal king always tells the guy, "You're my food taster. If it's poison,
That's
hey, say sayonara, sucker." How's the food? It's great. But
that's a
other than
rough
that,
one.
Bruce,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I know it's all right. But anyway, other than that, what are we expecting this season with Minnesota United now? With Cameron Knowles, well, we like you said, he had a good 3 matches before Eric Ramsey took over. We're expecting bigger things now.
I don't know. There's a lot of interesting pieces. They brought in Josh Wolf to be his number one assistant,
Mm-hmm.
which I think is interesting. And they haven't really gone out and signed a lot of players. They had 4 real contributors last year leave the team. Josep Rosales, Robin Lod, like you mentioned, Dane St. Clair, and Hassani Dotson, who missed a lot of the year with a knee injury, but he's been a contributor for several years to the team,
Mm-hmm.
and they're all
Mm-hmm.
gone. And I'm not going to say beyond Dane St. Clair that any of them are big shoes to fill, although I love Robin Lod. And he went to Chicago, and I got a feeling he might just light it up, which is great. Good for him. But he's getting older. He did not have the kind of season the last 2 years that you had hoped. But 3 years ago, he had 15 assists and like 8 or 9 goals, and those are great numbers. They're going to push Bongo Hukle Longwane into the attack. He's been stuck at right fullback the last couple of years, and he's an attacking player. They're going to push him up front again. So you kind of hope he has a bounce back year. And then you have all these other pieces that a lot of young players, and you hope that they all step forward and improve like every roster dreams of their young players doing. So, do they finish top 4 like last year? Do they scrape to the last end to get into the playoffs like they did the year before? Or do they miss the playoffs like they did the year before that? I think all 3 scenarios you can paint the picture for all of them.
Exactly. I think we can. And this picture is now completed. Bruce, I appreciate your time. Sorry about that earlier. So a bit of a get a text message and say, "Gotta come around the corner," if you know what I mean, and gotta take care of it real quick. Try to nip it in the bud as quickly as I had to.
Yeah,
But
as long
other
as
than
somebody's
that,
not going to kidnap you, you're good.
no.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
is
yeah.
this is kidnap proof. This apartment, I swear to God.
Good. That's beautiful.
But it's always great to have you on the show. I really do appreciate your time as always. We'll always keep in touch during the season, and hope all is well over there with you in Minnesota. I know you'll survive this. I know you will.
Thank
over
you, man.
there. But
I'm
all I
anxious.
can, and hey, in 5-6 days, the season gets underway.
We're all going to know a
Let's
little
go.
bit. We're going to know a little bit. I love talking to you, man.
Exactly.
Thank you, Daniel. I love
No, you're
having
welcome, Bruce.
coming on and talking.
I appreciate you as always. You have a good night.
Take care, buddy.
Thank you. Bruce McGuire from DuNord joining me to talk about Minnesota United FC soccer, the great signing of Jaimes Rodriguez coming over after the World Cup, and of course, some of the subtractions from the club. But still, though, we'll see what they'll do in this 2026 MLS season. Now, let's move ahead. Now, for some of you wondering, CONCACAF has now officially announced about a couple of weeks ago, I believe it's now, their cycle for competitions with the Nations League, with the Gold Cup, but more importantly, the new pathway to the 2030 World Cup for CONCACAF, as we are now seeing there will be a grand total, and I'll put this up here now, 6 automatic spots to qualify for the FIFA World Cup in the 2030 edition. And that will be the 100th year as we celebrate the World Cup itself through qualification and the tournaments proper. As you can see, very, very detailed from CONCACAF who will advance into the next round, what the setup will be like. As you can see, the international windows. Now, for some of you, paying attention to that situation, September, October will no longer be two separate windows. September and October will be one giant window from here on out, starting in the 2026 season. So there will be 2 weeks, 4 matches a week, or should I say 4 matches within the 2 weeks, that we will have international soccer, international football being played. So there will be a giant, cluster of international football between the months of September and October, and they will be played towards the back end of the month of September and the beginning of October. That is going to be exciting. And here's how it's going to set up. As you can see, in the September half of the 2027 September-October window, there will be a first round involving goal aggregate series, 11 of them for 22 clubs ranked from 14 to 35. The top 13 clubs, the top 13 national teams will begin in the second round. Now, 22 clubs in the first round, then advancing to the next round, and that will be 11 winners of the first round going to the second round. That will begin at the October end of the September-October window in 2027. Then 2 more matches in November international calendar month. And then in the new year in 2028, which will be in March, the last 2 matches for that second round. And then we get to the final round of qualifying. The first 2 rounds will be in June. And then the final 4 matches, the first 2 matches will be in June of 2028. And the final 4 matches will be in 2029 in the September-October window. From the second round, the top 2 nations in all 6 groups of 4 will advance to the final round. And then we will get the top 2 nations in the 3 groups of 4 will go directly to the FIFA World Cup. And then the 2 best third-place finishers will advance to November for the playoff to enter for the Intercontinental Playoffs. And that will be in around March of 2030. And then off you go for the FIFA World Cup, June and July of 2030. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be a lot of fun. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you, and I'm using the current FIFA rankings from last month in January. Going to show you how each round will be done. And here it is, first things first. This is the first round of the CONCACAF World Cup qualification for 2030, round 1. Now, as you can see, once again, this is just an example. These are not the official this is not the official matchups. This is just from this past January's FIFA International Calendar for the September rankings. It was already introduced. So basically, Nicaragua would be in 14th, Anguilla would be 35th. So and once again, like I said, this is not really what it is. This is just as an example for all of you how it's going to be set up. 22 nations in CONCACAF. As you can see, these are the teams ranked 14, 15, 16. I'm sorry, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35. So that would be those nations from ranked 14 through 35 going into the first round. And then once again, 11 first round winners will advance to the second round. Now, for the second round, this is how it's going to set up for CONCACAF when it comes to World Cup qualifying for 2030. Now, as you can see, there'll be 6 groups of 4, and I did it through the pots. Pot 1 will definitely be the first top 6 ranked nations, of course, the United States, Canada, Mexico, Panama, Costa Rica, and Honduras. Pot 2 would definitely have Jamaica, Curacao, Haiti, Guatemala, Trinidad and Tobago, and El Salvador. Pot 3 would have Suriname, and then the rest of it for pot 3 and 4, 5, and 6 will be selected depending on when those rankings will be. They will have those 11 round 1 winners entering the second round through, like I said, pots 3 through 6, and that will be the second round. And then we will have the top 2 teams in all 6 groups getting ready for the final round of qualifying for CONCACAF for the 2030 World Cup. And here it is right there, coming up. Here it is. And this is the final round. As you can see, Group A, Group B, Group C. So you see there the top 2 teams in each group will go to the World Cup. And here, as you can see, it's a quarter, meaning, it could be this team in Group A that finishes 3rd. It could be this team in Group B that finishes 3rd. It could be the team in Group C who could finish in 3rd, possibly going to the playoff, which will be a goal aggregate series, to see who will reach and qualify for the intercontinental playoff. So once again, top 2 in Groups A, B, and C will go to the World Cup. The top 2 of the best 2 of the 3 third place finishers will be going to going to their own playoff within CONCACAF to see who will qualify for the intercontinental playoffs. So that will be what's on the line here. Now, obviously, there's one problem with that. Not only is the hex dead, the octagon is also dead. And that's not CONCACAF's fault. CONCACAF, that's not their fault. There's nothing they can do about it. That is why in CONCACAF, they're forced to do this because of the expansion of the FIFA World Cup going to 48 teams, starting with this current World Cup here in North America, USA, Mexico, Canada. So FIFA trying to share the love. We will no longer have a hex. We will no longer have an octagon. There will no longer be a final standings for CONCACAF final round of World Cup qualifying. The only way that happens is if Mexico or the USA or Canada somehow drops into that second pot, and the top 3 ranked teams could have a Panama with either Mexico and the US, Canada and the US, or Canada and Mexico. So until then, from that point on, no more hex, no more octagon. It is all over. We're going to move forward into this new age of World Cup qualifying. But ladies and gentlemen, that'll do it for my show tonight. I want to thank my guest. I want to thank Bruce McGuire of DuNord about talking Minnesota United FC football. Don't forget CONCACAF Champions Cup first round involving MLS clubs, the full field of MLS clubs. This Friday will not be the first leg show. I'm going to have it next week on Monday, the first leg review this coming Monday, and next Friday will be the second leg review. I'll be away getting ready for the new Red Bull season in Orlando, as the New York Red Bulls will take on Orlando City, the first match for the new head coach, Michael Bradley. My name is Daniel Feuerstein. Thank you very much for watching me tonight. And as always, please enjoy your football. Thank you. Have a good night. Take care. So long. And bye-bye for now. Have a good night, everybody.